All right, y'all, I am even more excited about today's class. Last week we did shoulder stability and mobility. This week we're doing hip mobility and stability. So let's get going. All right, welcome back, y'all. This is Karan at Kamen Yoga. Last week we did some exercises for shoulder mobility. This week we're gonna do 8 exercises for hip strength and mobility. Okay, so we're gonna actually start on our backs. And bend your knees. Remember, we talked about that perfect alignment in the neck, so you might tuck your chin a little bit. So I just want to start with first just some activation. So we're gonna just start by lifting and lowering the hips. Lift and lower. And you can do this with the block between your thighs, but I'm gonna pick up the feet in a second because we're actually gonna do some marching bridges. So this first one's always the hardest. I'm gonna lift the hips, I'm gonna lift my right foot, bring the hips down. Lift the hips, left foot up and down. And just keep going like that, lift and lower. And you might even put your hands on your hips to remind you and to feel that your hips are not, you're not dropping, off to one side. Your hips stay steady right in the middle. And so I'm activating the glutes. I'm activating the hip flexor as well by lifting the knee up. Don't worry, we're gonna get some nice deep stretches for the hip flexors as well here in a minute. All right, so that's your first one. Our second one, we're gonna come onto our hands and our knees. Okay, so we did CARs last week, controlled articulated rotations. In the shoulder, we're gonna do CARs for the hips, okay? So hands and knees. I'm gonna start with my right leg. So I'm gonna pick up my right knee. I'm gonna draw my knee up towards my belly. I'm gonna draw the knee out to the side. I'm gonna take the knee back and then turn the leg so that the knee is pointed down. And now bring the knees back together. Now go back the other direction. So lift the leg up, rotate the thigh bone out, bring the knee around, back towards the front and down. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do another one on that side. Now, something I even noticed myself doing was when I came around like this, I started to want to drop into that left hip. So keep your hips level. Something you can do to test yourself is to put something on the back of your hips like a yoga block and don't let it drop, okay? Lift the knee up, bring it around, forward, and then down, okay? Let's do the other side. Left knee comes in, thigh bone moves out, bring it around, rotate it down, and bring it together. And lift up, bring it around. Again, you wanna try and go slow, even slower than what I'm doing right now. I need to slow it down. I'm gonna do one more. Knee in, out, around, down, and in again. Okay, now I'm gonna add something to this. So I'm gonna go back to my first side, right knee up, out, hold here, extend the leg out, bring it down, push back, come forward, lift the foot, bend the knee, bring it around and in, and then go up, around, extend the foot, tap it down, push it back, come back, lift the leg, bring the knee in and down, okay? Let's try that on the other side. Left knee in, out, leg out, tap down, push back, come up, lift the foot, bend the knee, bring it around and down and come back the other way, up, out, extend the leg, tap it down, push it back, lift it up, bend the knee, bring it forward and in, okay? I want you to do more of those, but for time's sake, I'm going to move on. All those cars, those rotations, really important to do, and you can do them every single day. All right, the next one we're going to do is a 90-90 internal. This works, again, on internal and external rotation of the thigh bones in the hip sockets. So I'm going to start in what is often referred to as a 90-90 stretch, because you've got your front knee bent at 90 degrees and your back knee. This is another alternative for doing like a pigeon pose, okay? So first, I'm just going to grab my arms, and I'm going to rotate. It's probably going to be better for me to show you like this. Okay, so I'm going to lift my left knee, start turning, lift my right knee, and you want to do this really slow. Drop the right knee and drop the left knee. Okay, and then come back. This one's a really good one. And again, you want to try and do it really slow. External rotation, internal rotation. And then, of course, I'm going to add on to this. So I'm going to hold here at this 90-90. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend forward over my right leg. I'm going to come back up, and I want you to push that left thigh in. So rotate that thigh bone in a little bit more as you try and press this pelvis back. And now forward again, fold. Here's where it's going to get hard. Come back up, try to lift, fold, lift your back heel. Okay, so I'm just accentuating that internal rotation of the back leg. Okay, then I'm going to come up. I'm going to turn. This is the really hard one. And I'm going to try to lift my right heel. Whew, I can barely get it off the floor. So come forward, fold, left heel, turn, right heel. I'll do that one more time. Fold forward, left heel, turn to the left, right heel. And actually, when I pick up my right heel, I can't keep my right knee down. I can't remember if Doc Gen Fit can do that, keeping your knee down. It's pretty hard. Okay, so let's try that on the other side. So I'm going to fold forward. First, don't worry about the heel. Just do your forward fold and then come back, and let's just put that right hand on the thigh and press it in as you try to press your butt back, your right hip back down into the floor. Okay, and now forward again, fold, lift your right heel. Turn to the right. I don't think I can do this side. Left heel. Oh, that's my very weak side is my left. So fold right heel, the easy one. Turn. It works your brain too. And forward fold. So really what's important is that you're just using the muscles as if you were going to lift your heel up off the ground. Okay. Whew, enough of that. I am starting to sweat a little bit. Okay. Hip flexor. So instead of going into this really big, deep, like lunge like this for your hip flexor, a better way to stretch it is actually to come in a little closer with the legs, not to lunge so far forward, and then to bend to the side. The other thing, squeeze your glute. Okay, the best way to stretch a muscle is to engage its opposing muscle. So I'm going to stretch my left hip flexor. I'm going to squeeze my left glute. I can send my hips forward a little bit. Now here's another thing to add, is to take your right hand and place it against the inner right knee and push your knee against your leg or against your hand as you bend over to the right. So I've got my left glute squeezed. And I'm reaching. I'm pushing my right knee into my right hand. And release. All right, let's try the other side. Left foot forward. So you are going to do that little tuck, that tuck of the tailbone. Squeeze your right glute. Let the hips come forward a little bit. Press your left knee into into the left hand. Reach your right arm up and bend over and hold. And keep squeezing the glute. Keep reaching over and keep pressing your left knee into your left hand. Keep breathing. And release. All right, so we're gonna do a standing variation on that, a little bit more action. So instead, again, of going into this really deep lunge, I'm actually gonna step in light, not, my feet aren't too far apart, and then I'm gonna do that tuck of the tail. I'm gonna squeeze my left glute, and I'm gonna reach up and over, just like we did kneeling. And then from here, I'm going to very strongly come up to standing and pull my left knee in. So I'm activating the hip flexor, and then I step back and I stretch it. And then activate. And it's an active stretch too, right? You're squeezing that glute, activate, and stretch. All right, let's do that on the other side. Okay, right foot steps back, tuck the tail, squeeze the glute, reach up and over, and then activate. Bring the knee up and set it down softly, stretch it. Squeeze the right glute, tuck the tail, activate. One more time. And release. And I think we have just one more. Oh, I was going to show you standing cars. So just like we did on all fours, you can put your hand on a chair or a wall, and we'll just lift the knee up, side, rotate, take it back, and down. So it's the exact same motion on the feet as what you were doing on your hands and your knees. So left knee lifts. Try to keep those hips stable. Take the knee out to the side. Rotate the thigh bone in. Take it back. And then bring it down and in. Keep that belly in, rib cage in, up. Turn it out. Bring it around, forward, and down. And then finally, just a good old hip flexor, quad stretch, because a lot of us have way tighter quadriceps, than hamstrings, but for some reason we're always just stretching our hamstrings. So we're just gonna do a nice quad stretch. Now, if you can't grab your foot, you can grab a belt and put it around your foot. And same thing, as you bring your foot in closer to your glute, you can tuck your tail a little bit. Breathe. And release. And this just, again, this one just hits the quad a little bit more. It's going to get some of that hip flexor too, of course. And it's always good when you're going into these deeper stretches. I save this one till the last because you want your body to be warmed up. You want the muscles to be warmed up before you stretch them deeply. All right, that's it, y'all. I hope that your hips feel wonderful, and I hope to see you soon. Namaste.